All right, can everybody turn off their cell phones again, please? Just check one last time and put on silent as opposed to on vibrate. And Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year.
And I want to welcome you all on behalf of Mayor-elect Mike Duggan to the administering of the oath of office. And before I get started, I did want to say a very, very special piece of gratitude to Mayor Dave Bing, who is here. His grace and dignity and honesty and forbearance is a high mark that anyone who aspires to public office, let alone mayor of the city of Detroit, should aspire to. And we are all so grateful that you're here and for your service. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you so much. And the charter provides that the oath of office is to be administered before noon on January 1st after the general election, and that is what we will be doing now. And so we have the Detroit City Clerk, Janice Winfrey, here, who is going to administer the oath of office. You should note that to the immediate right of the mayor-elect is his father, Judge Duggan, who is holding a Bible, which is a family heirloom. That Bible was used to swear in Judge Duggan when he was first ascended to the federal bench, and inside it's inscribed by the members of the federal judiciary, and it was also the Bible that was used when Judge Duggan swore in his son to the office of prosecutor in 2001. And with that, I turn it over to our city clerk, Janice Winfrey.
All right, please raise your right hand. And after I administer the oath of office, you will respond accordingly, I will. Do you, Mike Duggan, solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties as mayor, City of Detroit, to the best of your abilities?
I will.
Congratulations, you are officially
Thank you.
Mayor, City of
Thank
Detroit.
you. Thank you. All right. Thanks. All right. Yes, we did it. Oh yeah, good to see it. Okay.
Right here, your signature, please.
This it?
I will sign mine, and then you will sign the second sheet for me as well. Same place. And I have your certificate of office as well. I'm the city clerk. Certificate of
Oh,
office.
thank you.
You are so welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. All right. That was it. All right. There we go. I guess it's official.
That is official.
All right.
Mr. Mayor, if you want to come around the front here, and I'm sure reporters have some questions for you.
Okay, I can't stand there.
You can if you want.
Yeah, well, I don't want to lose Mayor Bing yet. He's still got another hour here.
Okay, you got it.
Come on, Dave, step up here with me. Okay. I just want to say thank you for being here. So our official ceremonial swearing in will be with the City Council later on in the week, but I thought it was important to get to work. And I also wanted to take the oath with Mayor Bing in this office. He's been a hero of mine for as long as I can remember, both in his playing career and his business career, and then taking on this city at a time when not many people wanted to do it. And he has restored integrity to City Hall, and this whole community owes him a great debt of gratitude. And I wanted him to be here with me and let him know that I'm going to continue to build on what he started, and I just wanted to say thank you.
Well, thank you so very much.
And with that, I guess I can take a few questions, and then I'm going to go to work.
We hear you're going to go visit the snow removal department.
You know, I am.
Is your message going to be get out on the streets?
You know, the thing about it is, when you get elected to office, you don't automatically have all the answers, right? Which is what you, and so it's a learning process. And I got up this morning and I looked out the window, and I do recall a day 10 or 15 years ago when we had a crisis in the city on snow removal, and I thought it's a good time to get educated. So I'm going to go out. I'm not expecting the blizzard today, but I'm going to go out and visit one of the yards. And if one of the drivers will take me out in a truck, I really want to start by understanding the challenges that our workers face in clearing the snow. Because I do think we can do a better job on a lot of the city services. And you know,
Duggan, I know you've been at work already with your team and everything. Describe for us what this first week will be like and how it will be different from before.
well, yeah, I've been through transitions a lot of times, and you know, mostly the focus was I have a key, I have an ID badge, I have a parking space, walking the staff down the office, and Lisa House is coordinating this, but we want to get everybody into offices and have them have computers and be organized. And then I know exactly where I'm going. You're going to see in the first 4 or 5 days, I'm going to go around and visit the city departments. And I'm starting with a series of meetings with the senior staff in things like the roads and the planning and the finance departments and the like. And then after that, I'm going to start setting up a series of employee forums, because if you want to know the best way to improve city services, I'm a great believer that the people who know best are not the consultants you bring from out of town, but the men and women who are doing the job every day. And so I'm going to start by meeting with them.
Mayor Duggan, how do you feel, just you, the man, Mr. Duggan, Mayor Duggan?
You know, I just feel enormously grateful to my family who supported me through the ups and downs, to the phenomenal campaign team that got me elected, and the people of this city who rallied behind me in a time last June when I got out of the election and never dreamed I'd come back in, and then who supported me through what seemed like a pretty long shot process. I'm grateful to the people of the city, and I'm going to do my best for the next 4 years to improve the quality of life.
Mr. Duggan, you're not going to be alone in taking and swearing in
Right.
this week. You've got a council that has a number of new members and a new structure. What's your plan to engage them?
Yeah, and we're also going to have the new police commissioners sworn in. So we've elected police commissioners for the first time, who also play a very important role in this city. And I have met with every single one of the council members individually. I've met with them in small groups. We all have each other's cell phone numbers. And you know, the conversations are very good. And I have a very good relationship with each of the 9 members of council, and it always stays like that, doesn't it, Mayor?
Always.
Mayor B, what are you going to do? What's going on? I mean, you looking so happy.
Well, I'm going to just enjoy life as best I can, and I want to make sure that anything that I may be able to lend to Mike and his staff, I'm going to be available to do that.
Mr. Duggan, the start of the new year, sadly, was a little bit violent. When you're moving ahead and thinking ahead as crime and taking that on as now the new mayor, when you look at what happened in the shootings overnight, where does your agenda fall? How do you begin to start tackling?
Well, I need to be realistic about what's in my control and what's not. And the emergency manager has not given me authority to deal with the crime and violence issue, even though I think it's the most pressing issue facing the city. But I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about the things that I'm not responsible for. I'm going to be all over a public lighting plan, all over a blight plan, and we're restructuring. Those authorities will both be restructured in the next couple of weeks. I'll be dealing with things like getting the buses running and the snow plowed and those kinds of day-to-day things that people are paying taxes for and deserve. So,
Is that something that you will be working with
what's that?
the emergency manager on, though, at all together?
At the moment, we have a division of responsibilities that I respect. It's his authority under the statute to make those decisions. I'm not going to spend any time complaining about it. I'm going to do the best job I can on the areas I'm responsible for, and I'm hopeful that the plans that people have on law enforcement work well. Anything else?
Have you completely worked out the balance of power, for lack of a better phrase, with the emergency manager in terms of what you do get to run and what he will continue?
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's a 2 or 3 page document. I think something that Mayor Bing thought he was going to have at one point. But you saw that in the first 6 weeks after the election, I just wouldn't comment because until we had a signed agreement, I wasn't sure whether it was going to work out. But we released it to the media. If you don't have a copy, John will get it to you. But we have laid out in very specific detail. And what Kevin Orr and I both said is, if we got to pull this document back out and read it, we've got a problem. I expect that we're going to have a relationship based upon the agreement we've reached. And I'm going to disagree with him on some things, but I understand what the law says, and you won't see me attacking the emergency manager.
Follow-up question, should he have been here today?
I'm hoping that he's enjoying the new year.
I have a question for you. Where will you be in terms of the Economic Development Corporation? Will you be working, or is that?
Oh, we're working very well. George Jackson is my very good friend who I've worked with for years. Tom Lawand is somewhere in the building, but we have had times over the years when there have been some breakdowns between the city and DEGC, and so the goal is going to be to have Tom and George Jackson working in partnership. They're longtime friends. And so I expect that relationship to be very good, but I'm fully supportive of George Jackson.
So there are going to be a lot of cranes in the air?
Well, if you go to the last place I worked at DMC, there's a lot of cranes in the air. So you're going to have to give me a couple of years. Yeah, back like.
Can you itemize, let's say, the first 100 days, what we're looking forward to?
We're looking forward to?
The first 100 days.
Well, I am more immersed in public lighting than I ever thought I would be. And I now know the difference between the neighborhood lights that are wired from overhead and the main roads that are mostly wired from below. And you're going to see, I think, a street light plan move in a very effective way. And you've got a lot of stuff going on between the Street Lighting Authority, the Public Lighting Department, et cetera. So I think you're going to see a plan in the first 100 days in a way that I will go out to the community and say, here's what we're going to do, and take the criticism, take the input in the process. And also on the Blight Authority, you're going to see the land bank be unified back under the city of Detroit, which is where it should be. And all of the Blight Authority efforts, Dan Gilbert, who's doing a phenomenal job on his efforts to create the database, and all the different folks be focused there. And so I'm going to spend a lot of time in what the people of the city expect me to do, working on the nuts and bolts of city government.
Quick question about your chief corporation counsel.
Yes.
There appears to be some type of conflict of interest with him. He's representing some plaintiffs in a lawsuit against the city. There he is, sorry. And
go ahead.
So how can you defend the city and sue the city at the same time? Are you going to drop out of that case?
Yes, I have. I've resigned as general counsel of the NAACP, so there's no conflict.
Yeah, he resigned about, what, 3-4 weeks ago?
A month ago.
Yeah.
A month ago. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. No, we wouldn't have a conflict like that.
Mayor Duggan, this is your wife.
Lori,
Duggan,
yes.
And the rest are who?
Okay, so my mother, Joan, my son, Patrick, my daughter, Carolyn, my son, Eddie, and somewhere is my daughter, Mary, and my grandson, Oliver, but my guess is that Oliver was acting up if they're not in the room.
Thank you.
Okay.
What about the water department? Is that something that you, as mayor, have any, or is that in the court's jurisdiction right now?
Well, it depends on what happens. If there is an authority created, and again, the division of responsibility between Kevin Orr and me is clear. What's happening in the bankruptcy litigation is his responsibility. If the water department changes authority in the bankruptcy litigation, it will take on whatever direction it takes on. If it is not changed in the bankruptcy litigation, I'll be responsible on the administrative side, and I think we'll know in the next few weeks what's happening with that.
So you would anticipate that you and Kevin Orr will be in close contact pretty much every day, I would.
Oh, well, he's got the office next door. The working relationship has been good. I mean, the thing about spending hours together and being forced to negotiate out every word of the agreement is we've talked through hours and hours of items. I think we understand each other. And I also understand the law, which is if I can't persuade him that I'm correct for the next 9 months, he has the statutory authority to make the decision. But I think he's already been, I think, very pleased at the talent that I've been able to recruit and will continue to recruit. It is a whole lot easier to recruit department heads to run departments when you're going to be here for 4 years as the mayor than if you're going to be here for 9 months as the emergency manager. And so I think we're getting to a good place where he sees the kind of talent coming in. I think he and I both agree we need to get off our reliance. This is a point Mayor Bing has made repeatedly. We've got to get off our reliance on these short-term consultants and build up the capability to run in-house. And I'm very much focused on that. And so the things that you've been asking for, I think we're finally going to start to get done.
Given all of that, there has been some speculation when Kevin Orr is done next September that the governor may determine the emergency still exists and he needs to appoint a new emergency manager, and there's been some speculation he might appoint you at that point to give you those powers.
Yeah. No one has ever suggested that to me. Not the governor. No, it's not. I mean, my goal is to move this city back to elected leadership October 1st. And everything that I will be doing with the city council and with the elected police commissioners is going to be geared toward returning us to elected leadership October 1st. Nobody from the governor's office or anyplace else has suggested that I would be an emergency manager. My intention is to take over as the elected mayor October 1st, and people have asked about things like, when is your inaugural gala? And our plan is to do the inaugural gala the first week of October when the elected leadership takes back over.
So you would reject that?
Yeah, you know, it hasn't even come up in a conversation. So everything that we are doing is to return to elected leadership. And I've been in several meetings with each of the city council members, and we are unified in the goal that we are going to conduct ourselves in a way that nobody would be tempted to extend the emergency manager's run beyond October 1st.
Mayor Duggan, you come in with a clean slate. So what do you expect as far as your budget for the whole city of Detroit?
Well, I have a budget that Mayor Bing and the council adopted, and it's still in place through June 30th for the city's fiscal year. And so I will continue to operate within the budget that's in place. One of the things that we're talking about is what is the process between the city council, the executive branch, and the emergency manager for fiscal year 2014, 2015. And my hope is that we're going to go through something like a traditional budget process where you put the individual departments through the rigors of preparing that budget, make a recommendation to the emergency manager that hopefully gets adopted. But for the next 6 months, I'm operating under Mayor Bing's budget.
Mr. Duggan, perhaps on a lighter note, residency has always been an issue from the campaign to now. Do you plan to move into the new mansion?
Yes. If Mayor Bing will give me the key.
There are no keys.
So in fact, we had the mayor's been extremely gracious, but Lori and I went over about a week ago, and Dick Manoogian gave us a tour. And he grew up in that house, lived there until his 20s, and so it was fascinating to get a tour from the perspective of somebody who's been there. And I have talked to some people from the Young administration, from the Archer administration, and I want to spend some time with the mayor, but there's a lot of history in that place, and I'm really anxious to learn more about it.
Is it okay to ask your wife a question?
Yes, Lori, go ahead. I don't know. Go ahead.
What does call you?
Lori.
I heard that you were shopping in Detroit.
Yes.
How was your experience? And is this something you continue doing with the entrepreneurs of Detroit?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I had been doing it before, and when I went in with my neighbors, they didn't realize who I was until I came in with the film crew. So, you know, then they recognized that I had already been there. I had been to the stores already. So it was we had a great morning. And we did shop till we dropped. So it was really good, and I will continue to do that.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lori, what?
Go ahead.
As I guess the first lady, are there any particular goals that you have or any projects that you'd like to take on?
You know, I haven't settled on anything yet. I'm still taking suggestions, but it will be neighborhood focused. It will be children focused. It will be women focused, family focused. So I haven't narrowed those, but it's a broad perspective. So, but those will be my focuses.
All right, anything else? All right, thank you all for being here. Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Hi guys, my name is Lauren,
And I'm Dee.
and this is our friend B. Green. Today we're here to talk about garbage and recycling and explain how we recycle in Detroit. Do you know what happens to all the garbage that we throw away? Everything we buy makes garbage. All of our food, clothes, toys, electronics, and other products come in packaging. Packaging becomes waste or garbage when we throw it away. In the U.S., we make more garbage per person than in any other country in the world. Each day, the U.S. throws away enough garbage to fill up 63,000 garbage trucks. Each year, we fill enough garbage trucks to form a line that would reach halfway to the moon. Most garbage in the United States is put into a landfill. In the city of Detroit, all of the household garbage that we throw away is sent to the waste-to-energy incinerator. Here, the waste is burned and used for energy and steam. However, much of the material that we throw away could be reused or recycled. Producing less garbage helps to protect the environment, reduce waste, save energy, and conserve natural resources. There are 3 easy ways to cut down the amount of garbage we produce. Just remember the 3 R's. Reduce, reuse, recycle. First, we can reduce the amount of garbage that we make. This means that we try not to make garbage in the first place. We do this by thinking about which actions make lots of garbage and then try to do them less. Just look at how much more garbage a fast food meal makes instead of making a sandwich and bringing it in a reusable container. This can even be washed and reused, which brings us to the next way that we can make less garbage, by reusing. When we reuse materials a few times, we can lower the amount that ends up in the garbage. And finally, we can recycle the remaining reusable materials.
So what can I recycle?
Do you know what materials are recyclable? Paper, plastic, glass, and metal are all recyclable materials. No, B. Paper is recyclable. Do you know where paper comes from? Paper comes from trees. If we don't recycle paper, we have to cut down more trees. Plastic is another important material to recycle. Many food containers are made of plastic, including milk, yogurt, pop, and water bottles. Americans use 2.5 million bottles every hour. Glass is another material that can be recycled. Don't forget to always rinse out the container. All glass is recyclable and can be made into new materials. Metal is the last recyclable material we will talk about today. Aluminum is one of the most efficient materials to recycle, and there is no limit to how many times it can be reused.
So where can I recycle?
Where does Detroit recycle? Detroit recycles here! This is the main location of Recycle Here. This is where Detroit residents can recycle each week. We have collected over 3.5 million pounds of materials from households just like yours. The materials from our public school program are sent here. Recycle Here has 10 mobile sites that move throughout the city on different Saturdays of each month. You can also bring batteries, light bulbs, styrofoam, and electronics to Recycle Here. Today, we learned about how to make less garbage, the 3 R's, reduce, reuse, and recycle, what materials can be recycled, and where to recycle in Detroit. Who is Be Green? Every day, everyone makes choices that affect the planet. Are you Be Green? By making greener decisions, you can make the world a better place. You can be green.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1,000,000. For free tips to help you save, go to feedthepig.